What's up guys, Rob again. So today I'm back with this map. This is a map of Kenya, and fortunately I was able to get a very well color coded map for the reasons of today. Actually the thing is, I remember for example in primary school I would almost be able to draw this map by hand. Not so much today, but that time seemed easy. And later on I came to realize, there's a striking symmetry in the map itself. If you look at the map, really you can see almost like the eastern side towards Somalia and the other side towards Uganda. It's a pretty good match, given that maps are supposed to be random, totally random, following rivers. If you look at like for example this border from Turkana to Marsabit, it's very it's not a straight line because it follows a natural formation. Then when you start looking at the Somalia side or the Tanzania side, it really gets quite clear that there was really some intention towards creating this beautiful looking map, I must say. Given the recent occurrences that are occurring in the world, I don't know, they might be considered charlatans, but some people claim that World War III is actually already occurring. And when you look at places like Israel and Palestine, or Russia and Ukraine, or even basically most of the world, even Africa, you look at Congo, it's a chaotic situation. And when you look at why people mostly are fighting these wars, it's mostly because of territories. And you look at some of those places like in Israel and Palestine, and you look at the literal amount of land that's being fought over. It's really quite saddening, because it's literally a very small piece of land. And we are talking about now the greater Palestine, or or whatever you might want to call it. But considering the war is now actually concentrated in the southern strip of Gaza, a very, very small portion of the land. So that just gives you an idea of how much strategic even small pieces of land can be. And when I look at maps like this one, it just strikes me in as much as it's a beautiful map, but the construct called Kenya is actually quite, I don't know what to call it. It's a fragile, very, very fragile combination of these lines that now define the borders. Now, let's start with our newest neighbors around here, around South Sudan. Think about it, the amount of lawlessness that is in South Sudan, and given that even today when you look at Google Maps, this area here is still not a defined real border, it's just arbitrary lines. So it means that this whole community here is actually supposed to be one community, and I suspect Turkanas and the South Sudanese people must be quite close, or maybe even cousins. So just assume, let's now start with South Sudan and the chaotic situation there and the lack of government that you look and you see there. That one day the central government in Nairobi, God forbid, but this is just a thought experiment, is weak and is unable to protect its borders, and people start claiming parts of the territory that they think should deserve to them. That's what's gonna happen. You look at this whole area, and as I said when I was beginning, thankfully I got a very well color-coded map, so that now it's able to tell all the related people and the related tribes. I suspect this was made focusing on the types of peoples, the actual first inhabitants of these places. So South Sudanese, they've taken all of this piece of land over here because, for our thought experiment today, the central government in Nairobi, and I'll come to that point definitely later, but here we're also seeing the significance of what gives the country Kenya its name. It's actually the mountain. So eventually what's gonna happen in our D-Day scenario, you're looking at this northern frontier district. Remember, this is a semi-arid area. What's gonna happen is, assuming a weak government in Nairobi. And remember the shifter wars of the 60s that our first president, had to commission to be able to stop the ethnic Somalis from expanding over into Kenya. Obviously, what we call Kenya, but is just actual construction, lines drawn on paper. So the Northern Frontier District, the shifter war repeats itself with a weak government, also a strong government in Somalia. What happens? That whole area here, where ethnic Somalis populate, and is actually semi-arid, which the rest of the agriculturalists and the pastoralists here don't like that land, so they are suited for that land. They're gonna take it. So that now becomes, and remember when you're also talking about ethnic Somalis here, this is Somalia, yes, but remember even in the Ogaden region around Ethiopia here, this is also all Somaliland. So we're talking about, the actual borders, how they should look like. So all of this area here, to Somalia again. I won't even begin to talk about the coast. You already know the situation about the coast, the Mombasa resistance movement, I mean. Remember the Pwani Sea Kenya thing, and also the treaties that defined this piece of land, and the sultans and the Arabs and the Bantu, the Swahili. So really this whole area is actually tied to Kenya very loosely, with some sort of a colonial decree, taking over this place, and it's still quite fragile. So we're talking about, the whole of this coastal area here, worst case scenario, a weak government in Nairobi. It also goes. So you look at the Masai, so in Tanzania, this straight line is obviously, there is nothing natural that, takes a straight line. So what will happen here is that all these Masai counties here, Masai land counties, they're going to either go to Somalia or they're going to become their own independent state. Same thing with, I can't even begin to talk about Uganda. You might remember Idi Amin and, the kind of ambitions he had to bring Uganda all the way to the Rift Valley, the Great Rift Valley. So that's also another piece of very contentious land in Kenya. So what I'm trying to say in actual fact is that Kenya is a very loosely defined country, and in case we start showing weaknesses, and with the developments that are going on in the world, and the geopolitical tensions and the maneuvering, and the kind of brinksmanship we see with the West and China and Russia and all these big powerful countries, it's very important to show strength, because that's how we're gonna maintain this country as one. In as much as there's a lot of divisions here, you can see that on a worst case scenario, the Mount Kenya region would actually be besieged inside other territories, and would probably be the Mount Kenya region would actually be the successor region for the country if you look at it, and it might probably incorporate the Kambas here, around here. I don't know. This is a worst case scenario, but anyway, I hope you had fun listening to my very simple video today about the very fragile nature of our Kenyan borders. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and share with your friends if you like the video, and keep looking out for more.